Welcome to my comprehensive lecture on preparing a research poster. Today, we're diving into a detailed exploration of how to craft a professional and impactful poster, using a real-world example focused on clinical trial applications in the common technical document format. For Health Canada, this presentation is designed to span approximately 1 hour, ensuring we cover all critical aspects of poster preparation. From structure to research strategies and regulatory guidelines, we'll examine each section of a poster: title, abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusions, and references. While integrating insights from Health Canada, the FDA, and EMA, this example poster, prepared by students under the guidance of Crown College of Canada Corporation, will serve as a practical case study throughout. My goal is to equip you with the skills to create posters that are not only scientifically rigorous but also visually engaging and compliant with regulatory standards. We'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes per major section, with extended discussions on how to source credible information and align with international regulations. Feel free to take notes, ask questions, or share ideas, as this is an interactive academic session. By the end, you'll have a clear roadmap for presenting your research effectively at conferences or in professional settings. Let's begin with an overview of the presentation structure. This example poster, prepared by students under the guidance of Crown College of Canada Corporation, will serve as a practical case study throughout. My goal is to equip you with the skills to create posters that are not only scientifically rigorous but also visually engaging and compliant with regulatory standards. We'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes per major section, with extended discussions on how to source credible information and align with international regulations. Feel free to take notes, ask questions, or share ideas, as this is an interactive academic session. By the end, you'll have a clear roadmap for presenting your research effectively at conferences or in professional settings. Let's begin with an overview of the presentation structure. Let's start by outlining the structure of today's lecture, which is designed to guide you through the art and science of creating a research poster. We'll begin with the standard sections of a poster, such as the title, abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusions, and references, each of which plays a unique role in communicating your work. Our example poster on clinical trial applications in the CTA format will illustrate how these sections come together in practice. Beyond structure, we'll explore research strategies, focusing on where to find credible sources like regulatory guidelines and peer-reviewed articles. We'll also dedicate significant time to understanding regulatory frameworks from Health Canada, the FDA, and EMA, which are critical for projects involving clinical trials. This extended presentation, tailored for a 1-hour academic session, allows us to delve deeply into each topic, with practical examples and actionable advice. For instance, we'll reference the student project's alignment with Health Canada's guidelines to show how theoretical knowledge translates to real-world applications. My aim is to make the session interactive, so I encourage you to ask questions or share your experiences with poster presentations. By the end of this lecture, you'll be well equipped to create posters that stand out in academic and professional settings. Let's now move to our first key topic: where to conduct research for your poster. Research is the foundation of any credible research poster, and choosing the right sources is critical to establishing your work's authority. In this section, we'll explore how to identify and utilize high-quality sources to support your poster's content. Start with official regulatory websites, such as Health Canada's for CTA guidelines, the FDA's for IND applications, or the EMA's for EU clinical trial regulations. These sites provide authoritative guidance documents that are essential for regulatory submissions, ensuring your poster aligns with professional standards. For broader scientific context, academic databases like PubMed and Google Scholar offer peer-reviewed articles that can enrich your introduction and discussion sections. The International Council for Harmonization, or ICH, provides globally recognized guidelines, such as ICHM-4 for the CTD format, which are critical for standardizing submissions across jurisdictions. When researching, always evaluate source credibility by checking publication dates, author credentials, and institutional affiliations. Proper citation, using styles like APA or MLA, is non-negotiable to enhance your poster's professionalism and avoid plagiarism. For example, our reference poster cites Health Canada and ICH documents, lending authority to its claims about CTA preparation. This section will take about 6 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to navigate these resources online and select relevant information. By mastering these research strategies, you'll ensure your poster is evidence-based, persuasive, and ready for scrutiny at academic conferences. Let's now turn to the specific regulatory guidelines, beginning with Health Canada's CTA process. Now, let's dive into the specifics of Health Canada's clinical trial application process, which is essential for any clinical trial conducted in Canada. A CTA is required for trials involving pharmaceuticals, biologics, or radiopharmaceuticals, and it must adhere to the common technical document format as outlined by ICHM-4 guidelines. This format ensures consistency and clarity across global regulatory submissions, making it a cornerstone of your poster's methods section. Health Canada reviews CTAs within a 30-day period, a critical timeline to highlight in your poster to demonstrate regulatory compliance. The CTA comprises 5 modules: administrative information, quality data, non-clinical studies, clinical protocols, and investigator information, each requiring precision and attention to detail. Our example poster details the preparation of 50 to 100 documents across these modules, showcasing the complexity and rigor of the task. Ethical considerations, such as participant safety and informed consent, are paramount, as Health Canada places significant emphasis on these aspects. In your poster, integrate these guidelines into the introduction or methods to provide context for your work. This section will take about 8 minutes, allowing us to explore how to access Health Canada's guidance documents online and incorporate them effectively into your poster. We'll also discuss how to structure Module 1 for regional requirements, which is unique to Canada. This ensures your submission is compliant and ready for a thorough regulatory review. Next, we'll examine the FDA's IND process for comparison. Let's now turn our attention to the FDA's investigational new drug application process, which is critical for clinical trials in the United States or those seeking FDA approval. An IND is required before initiating clinical investigations of new drugs, and it must include detailed preclinical data, clinical protocols, and manufacturing information to ensure safety and efficacy. Governed by 21 CFR Part 312, the FDA reviews submissions within 30 days, a timeline similar to Health Canada's but with distinct requirements. For example, the IND emphasizes comprehensive safety data, which you should highlight in your poster's results or discussion sections to show regulatory alignment. Certain studies, such as some bioavailability or bioequivalence trials, may be exempt, which is worth noting if relevant to your project. Our example poster focuses on Health Canada's CTA process, but including FDA comparisons in your discussion can broaden its relevance for international audiences. This section will take about 8 minutes, during which we'll explore how to access FDA guidance documents on their website and integrate them into your poster. For instance, you might include a table comparing IND and CTA requirements to clarify differences for viewers. This not only strengthens your poster but also demonstrates your understanding of international regulatory frameworks. Let's now move to the EMA's approach to clinical trials, which offers a unique perspective on EU regulations. The European Medicines Agency, or EMA, oversees clinical trials across the European Union, and its process is both distinct and harmonized with global standards. Since 2023, all new trial applications must be submitted via the Clinical Trials Information System, or CTIS, which streamlines reviews across EU member states for efficiency and consistency. The EMA places a strong emphasis on participant safety, ethical standards, and scientific validity, which should be central to your poster's methods and discussion sections. The Committee for Medicinal Products for Human Use, or CHMP, assesses applications for marketing authorizations, a step beyond initial trial approval that's critical for EU market access. In your poster, referencing EMA guidelines demonstrates an understanding of the global regulatory landscape, especially if your trial aims for EU markets. Our example poster could enhance its discussion by comparing CTIS with Health Canada's submission process, highlighting harmonization efforts. This section will take about 8 minutes, allowing us to explore how to navigate CTIS online and incorporate the EMA's ethical focus into your work. We'll also discuss how to emphasize ethical review board approvals, which are a cornerstone of EMA submissions. This knowledge prepares you for creating posters that resonate with international regulatory audiences. Next, we'll compare these three regulatory frameworks to highlight their similarities and differences. Let's now compare the regulatory frameworks of Health Canada, the FDA, and EMA to understand how they align and diverge, which is crucial for creating posters with international relevance. All three agencies require pre-trial applications, CTAs for Health Canada, INDs for the FDA, and CTIS submissions for the EMA, with a standard 30-day review period to ensure timely evaluation. The common technical document format, guided by ICHM4, is a common thread, ensuring consistency in how data is presented across jurisdictions. However, differences exist. Health Canada's CTA emphasizes regional administrative data. In Module 1, the FDA requires triplicate submissions under 21 CFR 312, and the EMA's CTIS is a centralized portal for EU-wide harmonization. Ethical considerations, such as participant safety and informed consent, are universal but vary in emphasis, with the EMA placing particular focus on ethical review boards. Our example poster references the CTD structure, and you could enhance it with a table comparing these frameworks, as shown in the example. This section will take about 7 minutes, including time to discuss how to create such tables and integrate them into your poster's results or discussion sections. This comparison not only strengthens your poster but also prepares you for navigating global regulatory submissions. Let's now explore best practices for incorporating these regulations into your poster design. Incorporating regulatory guidelines into your poster is essential for projects like clinical trial submissions, and following best practices ensures your work is professional and compliant. Start by aligning your content with relevant guidelines, such as ICHM4 for the CTD format, Health Canada's CTA requirements, or the FDA's IND protocols. Visuals, like the CTD triangle referenced in our example poster, can simplify complex regulatory structures for your audience, highlighting ethical considerations, such as informed consent and participant safety, demonstrates your commitment to regulatory standards and builds trust with reviewers. Collaboration with experts, as the example poster's students did with Crown College of Canada, ensures accuracy and depth in your content. Iterative feedback, as noted in their methods section, is critical for refining your work to meet compliance standards. In your poster, weave these elements into the methods and discussion sections to showcase rigor and professionalism. For example, mentioning adherence to ICHM4 in your introduction adds credibility and context. This section will take about 7 minutes, during which we'll discuss practical tools like document management software and strategies for seeking expert feedback. These practices not only enhance your poster but also prepare you for real-world regulatory submissions. Let's now transition to the specific sections of a research poster, starting with the title and authors. The title and authors section is your poster's first impression, so it must be both engaging and professional. Your title should summarize your project in 10-15 words, incorporating key terms like CTA or CTD to immediately signal its relevance, as seen in our example poster. Include all presenters' names, affiliations, and contact details to establish credibility and provide a point of contact for viewers. For instance, our example lists the industry sponsor, Piivand Pirouzi, Ph.D., and contact information, which adds authority and accessibility. Use a large, readable font, typically 72-point or larger, for the title to ensure visibility from a distance. In a regulatory context, consider including keywords like Health Canada or ICH guidelines to align with your project's focus. This section will take about 6 minutes, during which we'll discuss strategies for brainstorming effective titles, such as focusing on the project's main outcome or regulatory alignment. We'll also explore how to format affiliations and contact details for clarity. This section sets the tone for your entire poster, so it's worth investing time to make it compelling. Let's now move to the abstract, which serves as your poster's hook. The abstract is your poster's hook, providing a concise summary that entices viewers to explore your work further. It should cover the background, methods, results, and conclusions of your project in about 200-300 words, ensuring it stands alone as a complete overview. For regulatory projects, weave in compliance with guidelines like ICH-M4 or Health Canada's CTA requirements to highlight your project's rigor. Our example poster's abstract effectively summarizes the preparation of CTAs, emphasizing compliance with regulatory standards and ethical considerations. This clarity makes it accessible to both experts and general audiences. When writing your abstract, focus on the project's significance. Why does it matter? And avoid overly technical jargon. This section will take about 7 minutes, during which we'll analyze the example abstract and discuss how to structure yours. For instance, start with a sentence on the project's context, followed by key methods, outcomes, and implications. Reading the example aloud can help you appreciate its flow and conciseness. By crafting a compelling abstract, you set the stage for viewers to engage with your poster's details. Let's now explore the introduction section, which provides the context for your project. The introduction section sets the stage for your poster, providing the background, objectives, and rationale for your project. It should clearly explain the problem you're addressing and why it's significant, using bullet points for readability. For regulatory projects, link to broader contexts like ICH guidelines or Health Canada's requirements to ground your work in established standards. Our example poster's introduction highlights the preparation of 50 to 100 CTD documents, emphasizing hands-on experience with Health Canada's guidance. This approach provides context and shows the project's relevance to regulatory affairs. When crafting your introduction, start with a brief background, then state your objectives and the problem's importance. For instance, you might note the global need for standardized submissions. As per ICH-M4, this section will take about 7 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to structure your introduction for clarity and impact. We'll also explore how to integrate regulatory context, such as mentioning adherence to Health Canada's guidelines, to strengthen your narrative. A well-crafted introduction draws viewers in and prepares them for the detailed sections to follow. Let's now move to the methods and materials section, which details your approach. The methods and materials section is where you detail the approach and resources used in your project, ensuring enough detail for reproducibility while remaining concise. For regulatory projects, include how you incorporated guidelines from Health Canada, the FDA, or EMA to demonstrate compliance. Our example poster describes a structured approach to preparing CTAs, including reviewing Health Canada's guidelines, collaborating with experts, and using CTD templates. It also mentions software tools for document management, which adds practicality to the narrative. Use flowcharts or diagrams, like the CTD triangle, to simplify complex processes for your audience. This section should balance technical detail with clarity, avoiding overwhelming viewers with jargon. This section will take about 8 minutes, during which we'll explore how to structure your method section and incorporate visuals effectively. We'll also discuss how to reference regulatory guidelines, such as ICH-M4, to show adherence to standards. For example, you might note specific software or templates used, as in the example poster. This section showcases the rigor of your work and prepares viewers for the results. Let's now examine how to present your findings in the results section. The results section is where you present the key outcomes of your project, using visuals like graphs, charts, or figures to make your findings accessible. Avoid presenting raw data. Instead, focus on summarized results that highlight your project's success. For regulatory projects, tie your results to compliance achievements, such as meeting Health Canada's CTA requirements. Our example poster emphasizes the successful preparation of CTAs in the CTD format, supported by visuals like the CTD triangle and eCTD folder structure. These figures clarify complex processes for viewers, making your results more impactful. Ensure all visuals are clearly labeled and at least 150-200 MP for print quality. This section will take about 7 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to create effective visuals using tools like PowerPoint or specialized software. We'll also explore how to tie results to regulatory compliance, such as noting adherence to ICH guidelines. For instance, the example poster highlights hands-on experience as a key outcome, which strengthens its narrative. This section sets the stage for interpretation in the discussion. Let's now move to the discussion section, where you'll analyze your findings. The discussion section is where you interpret your results, explore their implications, and address challenges, connecting your work to existing knowledge. For regulatory projects, compare your findings to international guidelines, such as those from the FDA or EMA, to broaden your poster's relevance. Our example poster discusses the challenges of mastering the CTD format, such as ensuring accuracy across modules, and highlights solutions like collaboration and planning. It also notes the project's role in preparing students for regulatory careers, tying results to practical outcomes. Address limitations, such as resource constraints, and suggest future work, like applying skills to FDA IND submissions. This section will take about 7 minutes, during which we'll explore how to structure a discussion that balances analysis with critical thinking. We'll also discuss how to incorporate case studies or comparisons to international regulations to strengthen your argument. For example, you might compare your CTA preparation to EMA's CTIS process. This section showcases your ability to think critically and positions your work within the broader field. Let's now move to the conclusion section, where you'll summarize your key takeaways. The conclusions section is your opportunity to summarize key takeaways, restate your project's significance, and suggest future directions. It should be impactful and memorable, leaving viewers with a clear understanding of your work's value. For regulatory projects, suggest broader implications, such as advancing global regulatory harmonization through adherence to ICH guidelines. Our example poster concludes by emphasizing the successful preparation of a compliant CTA, highlighting its role as a model for future submissions. It also underscores the importance of structured approaches and collaboration, which are universally applicable. This section will take about 6 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to craft a concise yet powerful conclusion. We'll explore how to restate your project's impact, such as its contribution to regulatory affairs, and propose next steps, like applying skills to international submissions. For instance, you might suggest exploring EMA's CTIS for future projects. A strong conclusion leaves a lasting impression and reinforces your poster's message. Let's now move to the references section, which ensures your work's credibility. The references section is critical for establishing your poster's credibility and acknowledging the sources that inform your work. List all citations in a consistent style, such as APA or MLA, and include URLs for online sources to facilitate access. For regulatory projects, include guidance documents from Health Canada, the FDA, EMA, or ICH to demonstrate thorough research. Our example poster cites Health Canada's CTA guidance and ICH M4 and Q7 documents, providing a strong foundation for its claims. Place references at the bottom of your poster or in a dedicated section, ensuring they're easily readable. This section will take about 6 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to format citations properly and use tools like Zotero or EndNote for efficiency. We'll also explore how to select the most relevant sources, such as prioritizing primary regulatory guidelines over secondary sources. Proper referencing not only enhances your poster's professionalism but also protects against plagiarism. Let's now move to additional tips for preparing your poster, which will help you refine its design and presentation. Let's wrap up our discussion of poster sections with some additional preparation tips to ensure your poster is both professional and effective. Consider the physical aspects, such as a standard print size of 36 by 48 inches with a 3:4 aspect ratio. As noted in our example poster, ensure all images are high resolution, at least 150-200 MP, to avoid pixelation when printed. Avoid using low-resolution web images, as they'll appear blurry and unprofessional. Choose a cohesive color theme, using tools like PowerPoint's built-in themes. To enhance visual appeal, layout is critical. Use placeholders to organize content and check conference requirements for specific guidelines. Practice presenting your poster to ensure you can explain each section clearly within a typical 5 to 10 minute time frame. This section will take about 6 minutes, during which we'll discuss how to test print previews and select professional printing services, like GNI Graphics. As mentioned in the example, we'll also explore how to balance text and visuals for clarity and impact. These tips will help you create a polished poster that stands out at conferences. Let's now conclude with a Q&A and closing remarks. We've now covered the full spectrum of preparing a research poster, from structure to regulatory integration, and it's time to open the floor for questions. Let's briefly summarize the key points. A well-structured poster includes a clear title, concise abstract, informative introduction, detailed methods, visual results, analytical discussion, impactful conclusions, and credible references. We've also discussed how to source reliable information from regulatory websites and academic databases, and how to align your work with Health Canada, FDA, and EMA guidelines. Our example poster on CTA preparation illustrates how these elements come together in practice, offering the model for your own projects. This Q&A session will take about 10 minutes, allowing us to address any questions or clarify concepts. Feel free to ask about specific sections, regulatory challenges, or design tips. My goal is to ensure you leave this lecture confident in your ability to create professional posters. As you apply these principles, focus on clarity, compliance, and visual appeal to make your work stand out. Let's conclude with the references that informed this presentation, which are essential for further exploration and study. The primary source is the example poster on CTA preparation, which provides a practical case study for our discussion. Additional resources include Health Canada's CTA guidance, available, which details the submission process for clinical trials, the FDA's IND guidelines, found at www.fda.gov, offer insights into U.S. regulatory requirements, the EMA's clinical trial regulations, accessible at www.ema.europa.eu, cover the EU's CTIS system. We also reference general resources like PowerPoint poster templates and conference guidelines to inform our design tips. This section will take about 5 minutes, during which I'll encourage you to explore these resources for your own projects. Use them to deepen your understanding of regulatory submissions and poster design. Thank you for your attention throughout this lecture. and I hope you feel inspired to create impactful research posters. Thank you for your attention.